Hey, this is Matthew, and today I'm talking about how you can have more compassion and understanding for others. I really think this is something we all want to have more of in our lives, and what I'm going to be talking about today is the few things that you can do to start the process of cultivating some more acceptance, compassion, and understanding for others. If you're new here, my name is Matthew. My goal is to spark you to think differently so you can create new possibilities for yourself in your life. Why do we want to be compassionate? Why is this a thing worth pursuing at all? Well, there's a few different ways of looking at it. One way is from a purely practical perspective. If in a complex situation where there's something going on that you're trying to resolve, being able to have understanding and compassion makes you a much more effective negotiator, because you can connect with other people where they're at, see what's going on for them, and propose solutions and work with them in a way that's actually going to get a result that you both want, or maybe it's just the result you want. And so there's that kind of very practical reason for being good at understanding, being able to understand compassion. But the other thing is that it just feels good to accept others. There's something intrinsically rewarding when I'm able to accept someone, even though I find them very challenging. And there is something intrinsically valuable that I'm sure you can understand about compassion. Now, the thing about compassion is that it's often one way. Often in a conflict scenario, only one person's going to be the one with the compassion, with the understanding at that particular time. And I know from my experience, it can be a bit tiring always working to be that person. And look, I'm not perfect, and there's certainly times that I have been a horrible person, etc., etc. But when I can, I do try and cultivate my compassion, or bring the compassion in as quickly as I can if I get really thrown off kilter and really lose my cool. And so if we look at what's the actual practical context of how do you actually become more compassionate? And I think the fundamental concept or framework to look at people in any kind of conflict or any kind of difficult situation is to think of them as doing the best that they can in life. And I don't mean doing the best they can as like, oh, that's a token statement. I mean, truly, they are doing the best they can. And the best they can may be shouting at you and walking away, or it may be hanging up the phone call. And if you can really accept that people are doing the best they can, then automatically compassion can arise for them that maybe didn't exist before. Someone hung up the phone on me the other day, and because I knew that they were doing the best they could, I don't resent them for that. I changed my behavior, I did something else, I called them back, and there's a whole thing that happened. But fundamentally, I wasn't resentful at them. They're doing the best they can, and just because I think their behavior is inappropriate or doesn't work, doesn't mean that it's not the best that they can do in that context, in this time in their life. And because I have this understanding that people are doing the best they can, even if I do get frustrated, it allows me to come back to something. And the coming back is, yeah, I'm really frustrated about this situation, but the truth is they're doing the best they can right now. And a lot of people get a bit disturbed by this idea of doing the best they can, because people always, I hear a lot, well, they should do better. And the challenge with thinking like that, or seeing things as like there is a thing to get better, it creates this dynamic where you're basically set up to always be in conflict with reality in some way. So if let's say I do a performance on the violin, and I don't play violin, but if I did a performance of a violin and I judge it as I could do better, that may be true, but it's also true that right then in that performance I did the best I could, because there I was. It is what it is. It was the best it could have been. It's also the worst it could have been, but I'm choosing to use the best angle here. And by seeing it as the best it can be, you can look for areas of improvement, but you can acknowledge and accept what is for what is. And that is what gives the freedom. And if you're able to accept the person that you're having some sort of conflict with, or there's some problem and someone's frustrating you, and you're able to really know that they're doing the best they can, you can have compassion for them, and that will arise automatically. I really suggest you give it a try, see how you go. I'd love to hear any comments, feedback you have, and if you completely disagree and you really think that people aren't doing the best they could, I'd love to hear from you too. And please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can also subscribe to my new email newsletter. I send out an email every week. It's called Weekly Reflections, and I'm really proud of that. It's been going for almost a year and a bit now, and I'm very grateful for that. And until next time, have a great week, and the journey continues.